welcome to the channel. So in this video I'm going to take quite a deep dive into my home security system that I've put together using two Netatmo outdoor cameras and an Apple Watch. So when you combine these two products you get really quite a functional setup. So if you're looking at improving the security in your home, you hear of a burglary on your estate or whatever, it's like, okay, time to up the game a bit. You need to start researching what options there are. So it's a question of thinking like, what do you really want to happen? You know, when someone's breaking into a house, you need to know about it immediately and you need the police to turn up immediately. So if you're not there, there's only one way that you can really achieve that, and it's instant video evidence sent to you wherever you are. So you need something that gives you a notification and a picture of what's going on immediately, and from there you need video. So if you phone the police at that point, you can say to the police that you're looking at live video of somebody breaking into your house. That's a pretty compelling reason for the police to take action and turn up, stop anything being stolen, and that would be a good win for this situation. And this is where the Apple Watch comes in, because if you were to rely on just a phone here, the phone would be pinging all the time. You'd have to check, get the phone out of your pocket and check if it was a burglar or a normal event, which obviously for 99% of the time it's going to be normal, postman or delivery or whatever. So you need to be able to rule out those very, very quickly in a kind of frictionless way. So whenever there's an event from the camera and I get the notification, it shows me the snapshot of the camera on my watch. So it's literally just a glance and I can decide if I want to act on it or ignore it. There's no barrier, there's no effort involved in that. It's truly out of the way and instant and real time. So wherever I am, I'm kind of being the role of monitoring the house as well. So before I go on, I just want to quickly mention, if you do enjoy these analytical films on design, usability and workflow in productivity and lifestyle things as well, please do hit the subscribe button and click the bell notification icon. It'd be great to have you along for the journey. So the other criteria I really wanted to be able to have with the system here is that any footage that is recorded is actually saved somewhere securely off-site as fast as possible as well. So if the house is broken into, the evidence is already somewhere else. You can't just smash everything up and hope to get rid of the evidence. It's already uploaded somewhere, and that would be then useful for the police as well. So that was the kind of criteria I had in my mind when I was looking for products that would work with this format, and I think the Netatmo outdoor camera is about the only thing that does tick all those boxes and work as well as it does here. So the Netatmo camera actually replaces your outdoor lighting and includes a light of its own. And this is brilliant because it means you're not just bolting on cameras to the house, you're actually sort of upgrading a system that you already have in your house. You already got wiring to the outdoor lighting points on your house. You can just swap it over and replace it, and it works as a really good outdoor light. And sort of upgrades the functionality of a normal motion detector light by adding into the mix things like people detection and animal detection. You can choose whether you want the light to come on for all of those or one of those or none of those, or just control it manually through Siri. So you could just trigger Siri and say things like turn on the driveway light and it comes on. So it all works really well just as a light replacement. The light itself actually switches to an infrared light at night time, and the camera goes into its black and white night vision mode. So you get really good quality night vision infrared recordings as well. So the light's a 1000 lumen LED floodlight, and you can adjust the brightness just like you would through any other HomeKit light. You can just control it through the Home app or Siri asking it to change the brightness of the light as well. Of course, you can use the native Netatmo app to do that as well. Pairing the camera is also really easy. So it uses Wi-Fi, there's no wired network connection. And that can be a little bit of a problem because obviously it's outside your house. You do need to make sure that you've got good Wi-Fi coverage to those exterior points. And I'd recommend a mesh network here. And our mesh networks are really interesting. They're very, very clever. They get your network coverage, Wi-Fi coverage throughout your entire house, garden, garage very easily just by repeating the signal through these nodes. And then each one of those talks to your devices. And these work just fine with that. I'll link to the mesh network that I'm using in the description too if you wanted to go down that road. Definitely highly recommended system for Wi-Fi in the house, and they give enough signal out for the cameras to get really good quality connection in this house. So I actually bought these two cameras over 2 years ago, nearly 2.5 years now. We've had them in the snow and the driving rain for this length of time, and there's no concern at all. So each camera's got its own built-in memory card. So whatever happens, you've got the video is saved on that camera. So obviously that is vulnerable. If a burglar was to come, they could smash the camera off the wall and take the card. But obviously they would risk getting electrocuted from the mains power feed coming to the device at that point. So how likely that is to happen, I don't know. Obviously if it's higher up as well, if you positioned it in a good place, obviously those kind of risks are always going to be part of a decision-making process like this. But it's great just having that inbuilt storage on a removable SD card as well. So that's the basic kind of way that the camera deals with its own footage, but it also has network uploading. So it can upload to an FTP server, or it can connect to your Dropbox account and upload directly into there. And that's really cool. So the only downside of this upload process is that the clips don't actually upload until the camera stops recording that particular clip. And that's quite important to realize, because it does expose a certain element of risk. If, you know, a burglar was to be coming along and smashing the camera up, that footage wouldn't be uploaded because it would still be recording up to the point they take it off the wall. So it's worth knowing that, but that's okay because we can work around it. So that is obviously something to bear in mind. We're talking about what's a worst case, really violent attack on the property, and somebody came straight away and started smashing the camera off the wall. The likelihood is that it wouldn't actually get that clip uploaded to Dropbox, but it probably would manage to send the notification. So the notification gets sent straight away, and that gets, you know, you get the little still image and the notification on your watch or your phone, and that's, you know, in your feed on your Netatmo account as well. So you get that, you know, maybe the last thing the camera records as a snapshot, that will be sent very soon. It would be unlikely, I think, for anybody to get the camera off the wall before it can get that sent. So if you didn't like the look of that notification, you could obviously set your device to record its screen while you played back the live feed. So you'd actually get up to the moment the power goes on the device, basically, you'd get that saved as a screen recording from the live upload feed before it managed to do any uploading to Dropbox. So there are kind of little ways around that sort of inherent limitation there. In a real life situation, you could make it a bit more useful than not having anything at all. So the nice thing about the business model with this product is they're not trying to sell you a subscription service for any kind of cloud storage. And I really like that, because obviously we're usually paying somebody for cloud storage. You know, there's so many different cloud storage options, and it's nice that we can just use our existing Dropbox account or even a private FTP account as well. So that's brilliant. One thing missing though from this camera, the outdoor camera, is there's no support for the Apple secure video system, which is a real shame, because if they supported that, this would just be, you know, the holy grail. It sounds like a really nice secure system that Apple have developed there, and their indoor camera does support it, so I'm really not sure why they haven't added it to this one. It would be really cool if they made that work. So they do a doorbell product which allows the two-way audio discussion thing to happen, which is a really nice feature. These cameras don't support that, but they do record audio along with the picture. So I think one of the most defining headline features of this camera is its ability to distinguish between people, cars, animals, and other motion events. And with that, you can decide if you want alerts or just recording, or both, for those different events. So you could set it to record everything, but only alert you for people, for example. And that's really handy. And in fact, it's great fun if your pet's gone for a walkabout, like our cat went out in the middle of the night the other night, and we were like, okay, she's going to come back at 2 o'clock in the morning, which she did. I wanted to know that she wasn't just howling outside. So I set the alert to alert me for animals this time, but I normally have that turned off, and sure enough at 2 a.m. the phone went ping. Well, I went down and let the cat in. So there are some really fun things you can do with this setup. So on top of that, you can also define alert zones, which is where you drag the boxes over the frame that it sees, and it will only do its record and alert logic if the event is inside of these boxes. So that's really cool if you want to just exclude the road or something like that and just, you know, bring it into your kind of property. But what I think is a little bit of a shame here is that we can't still say, look, record everything, but just alert me for stuff inside the zones. I think that would be more useful than actually having the record settings limited by that alert zone as well. So I think if we explore the performance of this system, it's interesting to see how fast things happen compared to real time. So I'm going to display on the screen a sort of real-time video and then the live feed video, and you can compare the lag and see just how sort of late it is compared to real time. And we'll also show when the notification comes up in that process as well. So this should give a pretty good look at those kind of delays, because I think those delays are really important. You know, if you're waiting for an alert and it's happening 30 seconds, that's a long time in these kinds of situations. So you do want that alert to be pretty quick, and I'm pretty pleased with it. There's a slight delay, but ultimately I think it's as fast as you could kind of hope for. And obviously we've got that extra ability to be able to do something like, you know, when you get the alert and it looks like something bad is happening, you can actually just record the screen from your phone, just in case something happens to the camera before it can upload its footage to the server. So what I'll do in this demo is I'll have my phone on a 4G connection, so it's a bit of a better accurate representation of a real world situation. This could be with me being somewhere far away, it's just on a 4G connection, so it will be quite representative of the timings in a real life situation. So with a system like this, I was quite keen to make sure it's useful 24/7, even when I'm asleep. And for that, I have to kind of work with the iOS notification settings a little bit. So what I've actually done, and again, this is where the Apple Watch kind of really solidifies this routine and makes it all work very well. So on the phone, I've basically set all notifications to not have sounds, except for the security app. So what that means is at night time, I don't need to use do not disturb mode, which would actually silence the alerts from the security app, and that's what we don't want to happen. So with this setup, it's all my notifications from other apps and messages are silenced just because that's the setting that I've given to each one, but I still hear the notification sound for the security app. So in the night, if something triggers the cameras, the phone will make a noise, and if someone sends a message, it won't wake me up. But of course, in this mode, phone calls can still come through as well. So in the daytime, you use the watch notifications to decide what kind of notifications you want to hear about, because obviously when you're connected with the watch anyway, the phone notification sounds are replaced with what the watch does anyway. So this all works very nicely when you bring it all together with the watch here. I actually keep the notification sounds off for pretty much most of my apps on the watch as well anyway, so it's really only the camera that pings my watch in the daytime as well. Things like messages, I don't really like the idea of them pinging up. I'd rather just see them when I've got an appropriate time to deal with them. But if you did want your watch to alert you from things like messages or other apps, you can enable them in the watch app, which is a separate notification setting from the default for the phone. So there's a few other missed opportunities I think that would be lovely for them to add to this in the future, and one of those is having the feed, which is an amazing thing on the app. Both on phones and iPads, you get this fantastic feed of all the events that the cameras detect, where it crops in on the thing that caused the alert. So you're out of the whole frame, you just get this tiny thumbnail of where the person is, and it works really nicely. It's brilliant to be able to scroll through. You can very easily get a snapshot of what's been going on. It would be lovely to have that on the watch, to go into the app on the watch and swipe down on the screen there and just check those thumbnails would be brilliant. But unfortunately it is missing at the moment. Now, one other big caveat here, I thought this was going to be an amazing system using the cellular connection on my watch. So if I left my phone at home, I'd still expect this system to work. But unfortunately, what happens if you don't take your phone, for some reason, the notifications when you're on a cellular watch connection don't include the thumbnails. You just get, an event and it's like, okay, well, you've no idea what's been going on. So it's kind of useless. So I've cancelled the plan and I just take my phone with me wherever I go now to make this work. And there are a few interesting unexpected benefits of having this system. One I mentioned with the pet, you can change it to alert temporarily for animals. But if you're actually interested in wildlife and you've got a garden that gets interesting wildlife, if you're really interested in seeing a badger in the garden, you could set it to alert you when an animal is seen and set up an alert zone on the screen for the area you want to look at and all kinds of fun things like that. Another great side effect of having a camera system like this is it's really useful for those kind of moments where you've driven off and you're not quite sure if you've locked the door or not, and you usually have, of course, but that doubt in your head, you can put that doubt at rest just by pulling over and checking the feed, and you can see yourself locking the door. Okay, so yeah, brilliant, and drive on. So it's nice to have this system running on the house at, various events like couriers and things. It's great just to have this record of what's been going on. So another nice feature that this camera offers is it's got a time-lapse mode, so you can at any point download a 24-hour time-lapse mode from the camera. So if you've had snowfall or something like that and you want to just see it rising up overnight, you can tap the button the next day and it will give you the 24 hours previous as a nice little time-lapse. So a really nice little feature, that one. And at any moment in time, you can scroll through and tap download and it will save the full quality version from the internal memory card into your photos library. And so that's a nice way of just sort of grabbing those files. So the Apple Watch is a very interesting device in how it's tried to make useful roles for itself with the health and things like that. And you sort of always want it to do a little bit more than just being a way of seeing a notification. But actually in this case, the notification with the image is actually a really good use of it, and it's enough, to justify it, because there's no other way of just really rapidly deciding if you want to take an action based on what your camera is showing you or not. So I think that's actually a brilliant justification for a product like this when you work with another product like the camera, and the two come together to make this system that works really well. So there's one sort of anomaly that I'm left not quite knowing what's happened is originally when I had this system running, the notification on the watch would show you a crop and the big image. So you'd get a small circle of where the action happened, a bit like it does in the feed, and then you'd get the full image below. But recently I'm only seeing the full image. Now I don't know if this is a problem with Netatmo's end or if it's a problem with Apple software and the watch. So it was really nice to have that cropped in thing because you could recognize faces and things on that. But it stopped doing that recently. So I don't know why it's done that. Maybe it will come back, maybe it won't. But it's just something to be aware of. So let me know in the comments below if I've missed anything in this video, or if you'd like me to look at anything in more detail in another video. Hit the like button if you found it useful, and don't forget you can share this video with other people too. That's all super appreciated, and I'll see you in the next video.